Alright guys, HyDra back again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Leakzzy is officially back in business, revealing lots of stuff over the last couple of days, especially with regard to the state of OpTic Texas going into the new year and what their plans could have been in the most recent off-season. Crimsix and Zoom are also absolutely cooking Scrappy in multiple different ways we'll dive into in the coming minutes. Very much interested in your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. First of all, official Doug Sense Martin update of the day. He's been grinding, as we know, the pull-up world record. That's what he's going for. But of just the other day, the goalposts have now moved further away. Someone's done 9,000 pull-ups in a day. And what is this? 9,229. Broke the record by 629 pull-ups in a 24-hour period, which is absolutely absurd, and that is Doug's challenge. But he actually did tweet this out yesterday, saying he's waited 4 months for this, and officially he's had a response from Guinness World Records that his application to try and break this record has been accepted. Hello, Douglas Martin. Doug Sense Martin, you guys know how it is. It's a shame that it put that in. But yeah, so most pull-ups in 24 hours, and here it is. So I think he's got 5 more months of training. Maybe he said that he's like 5 months into his training. He's got 5 more months to go. So wishing Doug the best, but man, that record is going to be absurd if he can even get close to it, to be honest. Couple of things on Scrappy, because we know this guy has been running people up for some time. Of course, he knows full well that if he dishes it out, he's got to take it as well. And that's pretty much where we find ourselves now. Crim and Zuma were on stream just, well, having a good time at Scrappy's expense, roasting his setup, right? Which is, to be fair, pretty funny, really, when they say that he's just, his bed is there behind him. He just gets out of his bed, gets to the setup, and that's all he does all day. No showers, you know, no washing, just straight grinding all day. And there was also, because we know about, you know, Shotzzy and others have roasted Scrappy for, like, you know, long neck scrap or whatever they say. And clearly that's not going away anytime soon, because this clip from Crim here was just absolutely comedy. I know that Crim actually replied to the initial tweet, and I think it was this one. I said, yeah, you should have clipped the Brachiosaurus part. So I'll just share this stuff for you guys now.
As a turn, dude.
Like, bro, look at the background of Scrap's room.
I know, it's like
you bet, like Scrap. I'm gonna be honest, bro. If this gets clipped, like you better be choke slamming everybody. You're literally in a jail cell.
Bro, know what I feel like he's doing? He's in one of those rooms, Porter, because I've been there, bro, where you get out of bed and you just hop on a setup,
yeah,
bro.
No, that's what I'm saying. I can tell by his hair he hasn't showered today. Like, he better be slamming people.
It's so lonely. And he probably has the door closed, right? Like, if you open up that door and you stick your head in, what do you think it smells like?
If I'm Toronto Ultras, like, team owner, and I walk into Scrap's room, I'm like, yeah, we got a champion here, boys. I'd be surprised if he's got toothpaste. He's probably got 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. Dare I say 3-in-1 body wash, shampoo, and conditioner. No, the real question here, Tommy. Do you think he has a shirt on underneath the hoodie?
I don't know, because it doesn't look like he has a shirt on.
I don't think he does, bro.
Might just smell like straight shit under there. You know what I mean?
Straight passion.
I mean, he hasn't had a shower in about a couple weeks, maybe.
Wait. Yeah, look at what I'm saying. Yeah, yo, please Google it. Hey, Scrap, please Google this. Have you seen? Do you guys know what that dinosaur, that dino is, dude? Look at it, dude. I remember.
Is he Googling it?
Oh my god, it's one of those. Long neck.
Yo, he did it! Oh, he did it!
Oh, man.
That one's insane, bro.
No, that one's good.
Let's go. That's hilarious.
Some brilliant content, but we've got to discuss this OpTic Texas situation, because Shotzzy went into a lot of detail over the last few days as to what went down in the off-season and what we could expect for the upcoming year, and also the decisions they made that might have been, you know, considered by the fans to be reasonable at the time. The first thing, of course, we've got to talk about is the HyDra to OpTic deal. That seems to be a done deal, and we remember when Ronnie tweeted out 95% done deal, then it never happened, and he got absolutely cooked for it. The deal is in the closing stages. stages. Now, it was kind of known for some time that this was basically true. HyDra to OpTic was going to happen. It was almost there. And then for various reasons, it fell through. And, you know, it wasn't the case anymore. Basically, they wanted to make a change. Scump had told the team that he was going to retire. And Shotzzy then said, well, you know, if you leave Scump and we're going to drop Dashy, we're going to drop iLLeY. We're talking end of the 2022 season here. So after the Vanguard year, then Shotzzy wanted to leave as well. He was like, if Scump's not playing, I'm going to go. So Scump then decided, okay, I'll return. Then I think Formal convinced Scump that actually dropping Dashy was a bad idea. So they then kept Dashy. And then the team thought, well, if we're keeping Scump, Shotzzy and Dashy, we might as well bring iLLeY back as well and run it back for the season. So HyDra was basically right there, and the team was probably going to be, what was it going to be? Scump, Shotzzy, Cammy, and HyDra. Maybe there was even a chance it was Scump, Dashy, like, you know, Shotzzy and HyDra. I mean, oh my god, that team is just so absurd. And sure, now they've got Pred, maybe it makes up for a little bit, but the idea that OpTic, like, I don't want to say they necessarily fumbled HyDra, because at the time, let's not forget, a lot of people said, oh, no, HyDra's a bit of a diva, like, you know, he doesn't really care about winning so much, he's just about getting kills. Of course, we know the season he had most recently in Modern Warfare 2, so I'm sure that in part OpTic regret the way that could have gone, because that was the rumour team. It was going to be Scump, Shotzzy, HyDra, and Cammy, but as I say, maybe there was even a chance that it wasn't Cammy and it was Dashy instead, Scump on the flex, HyDra and Shotzzy on the SMGs. I mean, yeah, it's not too dissimilar, to be fair, to their current roster, with Pred for HyDra and then Kenny for where Scump might have been, but nonetheless, it's just, so I'm sure lots of OpTic fans are like, oh my god, I can't believe that we fumbled the bag on that. And Shotzzy said on stream that, yeah, it was a done deal. He was even in the group chat with us. So, you know, obviously Ronnie got roasted for saying it was 95% done and it never happens, but yeah, this is quite the thing to say, right, that he was literally in the group chat. It was about to happen, but it never quite went through. So just a couple of clips here to share, one of which of when Shotzzy is discussing OpTic SIB, or at least the possibility of OpTic SIB, that was floated around by many people last year. Let's not forget, during the regular season, people were like, oh yeah, SIB comes in for, you know, iLLeY's role, and of course, as time progressed, that then became Ghosty's role. People thought, right, what about Pred and SIB, the duo from Surge, to join Dashy and Shotzzy? Makes a lot of sense. Shotzzy said that was never really on the cards. They obviously wanted Pred, but SIB, I think they probably think that SIB is too similar to Dashy, which is probably understandable as well in terms of the way he plays. Shotzy's like, that just wouldn't really have made any sense. That was never a consideration. And they also mentioned that if Drazah, well, Drazah did fall through, if Kenny didn't reach out to them, they really had no idea who to get as their fourth player. So I wonder if it could have even been Scump returning at that point.
Kenny's always been a player that I've always wanted to team with. Like, I don't think there was anyone else besides Kenny that I could even think about that I was down to team with, to be honest. Well, the Dante, see, that combination, like, Dante is gross, but, like, I don't think Dante fits, like, our specific team. Because Dante, like, y'all love kills too much, bro. Dante is really good at getting kills. I'm not saying that he doesn't know how to play the game.
So these are all the details here that Smart Bookkeeper nicely puts together here on the Reddit, and we talked about some of the iLLeY stuff in yesterday's video. Of course, there was some more detail to it than just that. We talked about how, you know, they thought he was injured. Shotzzy wanted to play with iLLeY for a long time. Like, the belief is, even he says at the bottom here, that iLLeY's back, and after scrimming Surge, he thinks they'll be one of the best teams. So that's kind of what we discussed yesterday as well. So nice to see that iLLeY hopefully is back on real form for the upcoming season. But yes, the MW2 off season, Shotzzy wanted iLLeY back, Scump really wanted Dashy back. Apparently, that was after discussion with Formal, and Formal kind of said, like, what are you doing? Dropping Dashy doesn't make any sense. HyDra OpTic was done. This also an interesting comment. Now, I don't have the clips and all this stuff, but I think we've got to take this with a reasonable likelihood that he said it. Shotzzy said that Rambo didn't deserve the hate that he got, and his system would have worked, which is very interesting, right? Because Dashy's still there on the team. Shotzzy has worked with Rambo for years before he was on OpTic, right, on the Dallas Empire days, but we obviously know the Rambo and Dashy clashes that occurred, and, you know, only one could stay, it seemed, at the end of the day. But yeah, interesting that Shotzzy mentions that Rambo, you know, his system would have been fine, it's just that personality-wise it wasn't working with Dashy, which is an interesting story in and of itself. I will also say, I know there was lots of talk about this yesterday as well, that the fact that Shotzzy says all this stuff, I know that it's Leakzzy and he's back in business, and we love to see it, but at the same time, these are the things that keep the fans engaged, you know what I mean? You don't see this level of transparency from many other pros or from really many other teams. And there's a reason why OpTic maintain their status and have had their status as the top dog in Call of Duty organizations for some time. And it's to do with the transparency, and it's to do with the fan connection, and it's stuff like this that helps, you know. You don't tend to see this in many other players or teams. Streaming for hours, talking about all the details of the last couple of years, doesn't really happen. And, you know, I think that Hex often, on his podcast, or on the OpTic podcast, he often leaks things. You know, Hex often talks about, oh, this, that, going on behind the scenes, or talking about something with the CDL, and I think that encourages his players on the podcast, let's say Scump and Shotzzy or whoever, to also drop little bits of intel or drop things in. And I think it's wise. I think it helps the scene in general. And I think it in part reinforces OpTic's position. So let's dive into what continues to be said here. He'll be taking the kind of like calmer, dirty work role for the team because he knows what he's got to do to enable Pred. So that maybe makes a little bit more sense to what we saw the other day, that Pred will be not getting so much hill time. He'll be running around getting the kills. Shotzzy will be doing what it takes to fill the gaps in that sense. Talking about last year as well, saying they were the best team in the game up until Major 5, which was definitely true for online practice. But until Major 5, or in Major 5, certain players from his team were more concerned about their PC problems than getting better in scrims. So, I mean, look, obviously he's talking about Ghosty here, at least in part. I don't know who else he might be mentioning. Is he talking about Hook? Because he doesn't go on to explain why they dropped Hook, although we can reasonably presume, given the fact that Shotzzy, Hook, and Illy and all those guys have a great relationship, that Hook was dropped because he's not Pred, you know, and he's not HyDra, and that just is what it is. So the team decision, I guess, was sensible. Of course, he explained why they dropped Ghosty the other day, and I guess this is one of the reasons why. This is an interesting story as well. I don't know if you guys heard about this before, but there was a rumor, I think, that at some point Octane was, basically Arcees was unwell or something. Octane stepped in for Arcees on that Gorillas team, I guess, last year. And they were absolutely slamming, like they slammed OpTic or something like that. So, you know, it's kind of impressive. I still think it's a shame that Octane retired, you know. Guy's so good that we could have had him at least around for another couple of years. Talks about champs and says they should have got Game 5 against New York, which, of course, that was the game, the HyDra hardpoint, where Hook left the mid open and Kismet came in, got the kills. Should have gone Game 5. Didn't go Game 5, and that was the point we talked about Sib, right, when, you know, after Drazah, they didn't have a target, and of course, when Kenny texted him, it was a no-brainer, and sure, they might have reached out to Kenny anyway and got that deal done, but I wonder, like, if Drazah says no, which he did, and they didn't have an option, they weren't ever looking to get Sib, which is interesting because, you know, Pred's joined. If Pred thought really highly of Sib, he probably would have said, yeah, all right, we'll get Dante in, but that never happened. So, you know, I guess they thought that Sib and Dashy probably too similar. That's what I imagine anyway, and as Shotzzy says, you don't need all the kills in the world, you just need quite a lot of kills. So, I think that's probably the decision there, but yeah, if they didn't get Drazah, which they didn't, and if Kenny didn't reach out or whatever, I wonder what would have happened, because this is probably around about the time where Scump was pretty sure that he wanted to come back but wasn't 100%. So I do wonder if like Kenny never reached out or Kenny had another option or something like that, whether Scump could have been there instead. He comments on scrims as well, going very well, and this is the perception, right, because a lot of fans, they see the scrim results and they think, oh, if they win, good, if they lose, bad. That's not necessarily the case, because scrims going well does not necessarily mean winning all your scrims. It means learning as much as you possibly can from your scrims, and if they feel like they're learning, then the results really don't matter at the end of the day. I think that's the important thing to remember on this stuff. So lots that we dived into there. Very much interested to your thoughts on it in the comments section below. Just quickly on BPL, because we've got this week loads of things coming up on the Wednesday, the Friday, the Sunday. We're doing like basically special days where we'll broadcast the matches. We'll get the top players to play kind of matches for extra points and stuff like this, because as it stands, it's kind of a two-horse race at the moment. If I just hit the refresh on this, probably nothing will change. But yeah, Vivid versus Drazah is pretty much the race here, because Drazah has been grinded to try and get back to the top of the leaderboard. He's on an 8-win streak, Drazah, and every time you go on more of a win streak, you get more points, like accrued over time. Like a win is 25, then if you win a couple in a row, you get 26, 27, 28 for a win. But Vivid is matching him. He's got 23 wins, only 5 series losses, and he's on another 7 streak. So it feels like it's Vivid versus Drazah for the W here, which is kind of absurd. Kismet as well, he played 7 series, won them all, and he's now just lost one, so now he's 8-1 in 1, but still Kismet's already 4th, just after, you know, getting out the gates, basically. So very much interested in your thoughts in the comment section below. Just quickly to mention before we close out here, of course, Sib is now on the New York Subliners, and the only team ever, the last time at least, to win the final 2 events of the season, and then go on to win the next one at the start of the new year was Complexity from Black Ops 2 to Ghosts. Can Subliners do the same thing? I think that based on the way we saw FaZe play earlier today, it might be a bit of a challenge come Major 1. But hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.